This is Kara Tucker from the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County. Today, the 3rd of August, 2019, we are recording an interview about the 1969 forgotten tornado. If you would please state your name, birth date, and where you were born, we will begin the interview.
Mary Vandament. I was born September 1953 and in Cincinnati, and I live in the house I grew up in Hartwell.
So you've been in Hartwell before.
I've been in Hartwell 65 of my 66, almost 66 years.
Okay. Where were you before Hartwell?
1 year in St. Bernard.
Oh, okay, so not too far.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump right into the day of the tornado. Can you tell me what you were doing that day? What were you up to? What was the day like before?
The day of, I don't remember a whole lot. I went up to hear music in Clifton.
What music was that?
It was at an old place called the Black Dome, which didn't exist very long, but they didn't serve alcohol or anything, so there was no age limit, but they had fantastic bands. And we were trying to come home, but it was pouring down rain. It was probably around 6-ish. And sirens were going, and we got into a door stoop because it was raining so hard. And so I eventually called my mother and said, I'm on my way home. And she said, good luck. And I said, what do you mean? She said, we've had a tornado. And I never did believe her till I started trying to get home.
So do you think the sirens were from emergency personnel trying to get to Hartwell, or what do
We
you think
had
those were
no
from?
idea. They were going off. They were ambulance everywhere. It was
Okay.
just sirens everywhere. So we had no clue, but we knew something wasn't right. And the rain was insane. I mean, it was much.
Was there any wind in that area, or just
Yeah,
pouring?
it was a mixture of everything,
Okay.
but not like the winds that were in Hartwell, I'm sure.
Sure, yeah. So you said you kind of sought some shelter, at least just from the rain at
Yeah.
the time. How long were you there for?
We were probably, I don't even remember, but I'd say close to an hour or more. I don't really remember.
You were with a group of other
I
friends?
was with a group of probably 3 other people.
Okay. Did
And
they
we-
live in Hartwell as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were all from Hartwell. So
Okay.
we had, something was going on, but we didn't know what it was.
So you got in touch with family. It sounds like the phone still worked.
Phone still worked.
Okay. What were the next steps after you spoke with your mother? And
I didn't believe her because there'd never been a tornado before. So we're coming home, and it was not easy because there was live wires down. And when we got to Hartwell, the old schoolhouse on Woodbine, Woodbine's off of my street on Millsdale. And so we went right by all that, and I was in a state of shock. And there were clothes up in trees. There were trees that weren't there, that were kind of like not much of them left. And it hit our back fence, but we were lucky. It didn't hit our house or anything, but it hit, Igler's pharmacy was really hurt bad, and their grocery store changed names so many times I forget what it was, but it was damaged. So National Guard was at Igler's.
and those were on Vine Street, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Igler's was on Vine and it's at Hereford, I guess. So because of pharmacy stuff, they had the National Guard there, but I remember afterwards they had tornado sales. But, a lot of my friends, I grew up there, so I remember a friend of mine a couple blocks away was talking about the freight train sound, and she, they were trying to get the windows shut and had difficulty doing that. But when I got into our neighborhood, I was shocked. And I found out real quick my mother was not telling me stories. But
How was it when you arrived home?
I couldn't even talk. I was just flabbergasted. I just couldn't believe it. But then it made sense, all the commotion that was going on in Clifton, because you have all the hospitals up there and stuff. And so then it all made sense. I was devastated to see what happened to my neighborhood, And then finding out that, you know, the old schoolhouse that was always there, known people that lived there, that just, I mean, that's been a bare spot. I mean, it just is very strange.
What other ways did it visually leave an impact on the community? Did you have any neighbors that had, you said your fence came down. Did any adjacent neighbors have more trouble with
You know, I
damage,
don't
or?
remember.
Okay.
I don't remember, because I have friends on every street.
I see.
You know, because I'm still friends with people that I went to kindergarten with, and we still see each other. We're from the well. So, but I don't remember, I just remember the, like, igglers and the store, and hearing my friends talk about their experiences at their houses, but I can't remember specifics.
So you said the National Guard came, and how long were they around for? Just to clean
Well,
up
they
at the
had, I
pharmacy?
mean, with igglers, because they sell pharmaceuticals,
Right.
they had to have, you know, guards. I don't remember how long, but there was a lot of it exposed. So, and that was our beloved pharmacy and drugstore, and soda shop, and
Sure.
so.
So it sounds like definitely that the main kind of, I guess you'd say, the quote unquote downtown of Hartwell was definitely hit. Today, looking at the way it looks, do you feel like you can still see the impression of the tornado, or?
Well, when I go down Woodbine, that old schoolhouse is not there. That probably
Right.
strikes me more than anything. And of course, where igglers and all that is, that's all changed, and you know, I mean, none of the things, stores that were there are there anymore, just because of the change of the world, how, you know,
Sure.
business and stuff. But probably Woodbine Avenue, I couldn't believe it, because that was the first thing I saw, and I had to go down there to get to my house, it being off my street.
Did you have any trouble accessing your house? I've heard that there were a lot of
Yes.
police had closed
Yes,
roads
we
off.
had a very hard time getting home, just because of damage, and then police, and just everything that was going on.
What would you say, if you could, in a few words, the big difference of maybe how it felt there before and after, just as your home?
Well, I certainly have a big respect and fear of tornadoes.
I see.
So, you know, it hurt, because it was, you know, I've lived there all my life. And, you know, I love Hartwell. And it hurts me, though, that nobody seems to remember it except for the people that live there. And I don't understand it. And I don't have any photographs or anything, because, like I think has been said before, you know, you experienced all the stuff that was going on in the neighborhood. I never thought about recording it. I was too devastated to think about doing that. But I guess I'll never understand why, because anytime I talk to somebody, they think the one after that in the early 70s was the first tornado, and I don't get it. I don't understand that at all.
Well, hopefully by sharing what you remember, we can rectify that. Is there anything else that's really stuck with you as far as that experience goes, other than, I know there's the definite fear of that kind of
well,
weather.
when there are warnings or anything like that, I take them very seriously. You know, and I mean, that's about it. You know, you look at our neighborhood today, and a lot of things are gone for one reason or another, but as I said, that old school building just really sticks out in my mind.
Sure. Definitely being a place of loss of life, too, at that.
Yeah.
Well, since you're a long-term from the well, as you said, are there any other events or anything that have happened in Hartwell that you think have been forgotten or overlooked or overshadowed that we should go ahead and maybe mention while we're at it?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times, Hartwell's a pretty good community. I think it's a real good community, but I live on the borderline of Hartwell and Wyoming, and we're forgotten about with a lot of things, just because we're at the end of it. But even when I go to meetings, Hartwell Improvement Association meetings, which I don't go to too often. You know, when people complain about things to our beat policeman, Jody, our things are never looked at really strongly because out of the whole District 4, we're in pretty good shape compared to the rest of it. So I love it, and I love that people are rehabbing houses, and you know.
Sounds like you're very dedicated to your community.
Yeah, I don't plan on leaving unless somebody forces me in a nursing home someday, and they'll have to fight me. So I'm happy there.
Well, that's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or memories, or anything else that we need to make sure we have down for posterity's sake?
No, I'm just really happy that you're doing this.
Well, thank you for your time and for sharing your memories.
Okay.
And with that, we'll conclude the interview. So thank you again.